Hello children, you are welcome to the mathematics segment of the program. It is really mathematics time, and that means it is time to have some fun. I am Uncle Agbaje. Today in mathematics, we will continue our work on statistics. This week, we will look at the number aspect of the topic. Specifically, we will be discussing the range and the mode. I'm sure these are words that you have come across in your daily life, but they mean a whole different thing in mathematics. Before we go into what they mean, let us begin by reviewing the correction to our previous assignment. In our last lesson, we learned about pie charts, and you were asked to study this pie chart, which represents the favorite sport of 40 students. Now, these are the questions you were asked to answer. The answer will come up right about now. How many children prefer football? Now, we see that the pies for football is 4 out of the whole 8 divisions of the circle. That is just half. So we just take half of 40, and that is 20. So 20 students prefer to play football. That's everybody's favorite sport anyway. Now, how many children prefer swimming? Now, we look for the swimming pie. It's this one. And that is taking 2 out of 8. Again, it's taking 2 out of 8. And when you take 2 out of 8 and scale it up to a scale of 40, you will get 10. 2 over 8 times 40, you get 10. We've already done this last week, so you should have no problem with that. Question number 3 says, how many children prefer lawn tennis? So we'll go into the lawn tennis pie, and we see that it's just 1 division out of 8. So it's like saying you divide the whole 40 students into 8, 1 share will be 5. So 40 divided by 8 is 5, and that is just 1 piece of the pie. So 5 children prefer to play lawn tennis. Now, question 4 says, which sport is as popular as lawn tennis? And that is, you look for a pie that is of the same size as the lawn tennis pie. And if I look at this diagram, I see that the squash pie is about the same size as the lawn tennis pie, telling me that squash is as popular as lawn tennis. And finally, what fraction of the class prefers to play squash? So I look at the whole pie, the whole diagram, the circle, and see that it has been divided into 8. And out of these 8, squash take just 1. So that is 1 out of 8. Based on the work we did last week, I believe that you all got this right. And for that, I'm going to give you a big cheer. Now, moving on to the lesson objectives for today. What are we supposed to be able to do at the end of this lesson? By the end of this lesson, you should be able to find the range of data. You should also be able to find the mode of data. I believe you all remember what data is. Information, facts about any given subject. So let's just go right into what the range is. Now, you're familiar with that sport called javelin or discus, which is usually, aired during the Olympics. Usually you have teams from different countries throwing things, and they all stand at the same starting point. Now, the person that has the furthest throw is declared the winner. The starting point to where their javelin or discus or hammer or anything that they are throwing ends, from the starting point to where that thing lands, is what you call the range. So it's like a distance between 2 places. So remember that. If you throw a stone and your friend throws a stone and your stone goes further than your friend's stone, then you have a wider range than your friend. So the range is like the distance. So this is a range, and this is a much bigger range, and this is a wider range. So you get the idea of what I am trying to say. Let's see how we can apply this in mathematics. The range is the difference between the highest and the lowest values in a given data set. You're given a set of data, and you look for the highest and you look for the lowest. Now you find the difference between the two, the distance, and then you have your range already. Let's see some examples. In a mathematics test, 10 pupils scored the following marks. So you have somebody scoring 20%, 30%, 90%, very good, 65, 78, 95, 10%, 82, 55%, and 45%. These are all data for some set of pupils. I'm sure all of you want to score 95. Nobody wants to score 10%. What is the range? That is more of what we are interested in. So we'll look for which one is the lowest mark. The lowest mark obviously is 10%. Now we'll look for the highest mark. What is the highest mark? I checked the table. The highest mark seems to be 95%. So now when you know the lowest mark and the highest mark, it's very, very easy to find the range. Just subtract the smallest from the biggest. So to find the range, we say the range is equal to 95% minus 10%, and that gives us 85%, and this is just the final answer. It's as simple as ABC. When you're given a set of data, just take the highest and take the lowest and subtract them. You have the range, my friend. Let's take a look at another one of this type. The ages of 12 pupils in a class are as follows. Now you have some pupils are 8 years, 10 years, 11 years, and you have all these. Now we have to find the range of ages. So say, who is the oldest in the class? The oldest pupil will be 15 years old, quite old. And who is the youngest in the class? That will give us the lowest data. So the youngest person will be 8 years old. So now we have the oldest person in the class corresponding to the highest data in magnitude. And we have the youngest person corresponding to the lowest. So we know the highest and the lowest. You know what we're going to do now? We are just going to subtract the smaller age from the bigger age. 15 years minus 8 years, and that should give me 7 years. And it's just as simple as that. So take some examples of your own to practice with, and I'll give you just 30 seconds. The total mark of 7 pupils are as follows, and you have that. You have to find the range. The heights of 8 boys in a class are as follows. Find the range. Highest, lowest, subtract. You shouldn't miss your way. You have 30 seconds. Begin. Alrighty then, eyes on me. That was quite easy, wasn't it? Let's just see how it's done. The total marks for 7 pupils are given as this. Now, what is the highest mark? The highest mark that I can see here is about 920 marks, and the lowest mark that I can see here is 520 marks. So to find the range is just to subtract them. Range is 920 marks minus 520 marks. And finally, the range should be 400 marks. I believe you got this. Not yet Uhuru. Let's check out the second one. The height of 8 boys in the class are 140 centimeter, 132 centimeter, all the way to 138 centimeter. Now, who is the tallest boy in the class? The tallest that I can see here is about 145 centimeter, and the shortest person in the class is 130 centimeter. So now the range of the height now will be 145 centimeter minus 130 centimeter, and that is about 15 centimeter. Now, if you got these two, I want you to give yourself the raise the roof chair, and we'll go hoot, hoot. Good job, you. Now, let's move on to something even simpler than the first one. This is the mode. Now, you've heard of the mode. Perhaps you've heard of mode of transportation. That's how you travel. But that's not the mode in mathematics. The mode in mathematics means something much simpler than that. Let's see what that is all about. The mode is the most common value. The mode is the most common value. When you have a data set, some data will occur more than once. Some will occur twice. You know, remember that bag of balls that we saw? Now we had green balls, about quite a number of them: yellow balls, red balls, and blue balls. So now the one with the highest count is the one we call the mode. Remember that the count is also called the frequency. Now let's just see how this is applicable in practice. The weights of 10 boys are 60 kilogram, 56 kilogram, 59 kilogram, 50 kilogram, 57 kilogram, 56 kilogram, 55 kilogram, 56 kilogram, 58 kilogram, and 59 kilogram. Now you see that some of these data sets are recurring. Of course, it's possible that some boys will have the same weight, so some boys will have different weights. Now, the question says, find the mode. Now, to find the mode, we need to be careful because we don't want to run into the error of simplicity. Oh, it's very simple. I can look at it. No, the best thing you want to do is that you want to rearrange your data and probably construct a frequency table. Now, so these are the weights. I've put them out here for you. Now, I'm going to construct some sort of a count table for them. That's the first step so that I can be sure of my answer. So let's see that count table coming up right about here. Okay, so now I have the weight. I observe that there is 50 kilogram there, and when I check, I see only one. Then there is 55 kilogram, I see only one. Then I take 56 kilogram, I see three of that. That is one here, and one here. Now check for 57 kilogram, I see just one of that here. 58 kilogram, I see just one of that here. 59 kilogram, I see two of that. There is one here, and the other one is right below here. And finally, 60 kilogram, I see just one of that. Now, this frequency or count table helps me to put the data into perspective, and I cannot make any mistake from here. So it's very important that you quickly put your data table or your count table together before you find the mode. So now that you've drawn the count table, the next thing that you want to do is that you want to identify the data with the highest count, the one that is occurring the most. And then we see that that data is 56. 56 is occurring 3 times. Okay, so this is the mode. It's quite easy to see, as you can see. But you need to note the fact that there is an error that pupils make in this regard, and I would not want you to make that error. What is the error? Sometimes pupils will look at the count, the frequency, and say, oh, this is the highest frequency, and so this is the mode. The mode is not the count. The mode is the data that corresponds to that count. Let's say another example and see just what I'm talking about. This table shows the newspaper preferred by the teachers of a school. Now, the question says, what is the most preferred newspaper? That is another way of asking you to find the mode. What is the most preferred newspaper? So when we put this to a vote, we say that we have this tally table to guide us, but we're going to see the count coming up right about now. That's it. So you see that Punch newspaper is preferred by 13 teachers. The Guardian newspaper is preferred by 8. The Tribune newspaper is preferred by 9. Vanguard newspaper is preferred by 6. And Daily Times is preferred by 10. So which one do you think is the mode? Well, let's see the next screen and see whether we're going to get that right. Now, the Punch newspaper is read by 13 teachers. So which one is the mode? Is it Punch or is it 13? Well, if you selected Punch, then you are correct, because Punch is the data we are interested in. The 13 is just the count. So the mode is the Punch newspaper. So the Punch is the mode. Now, for some homework for you to take home, I want you to copy this and do them during your leisure. You have a table of data here. Now, how many students scored less than 3 marks? You should be able to answer this from using the knowledge of your previous work. How many people scored more than 4 marks? What is the range of the marks? And finally, what is the mode? Well, I've done some pretty interesting concepts here today. We've talked about the range, which is the difference between the largest data and the lowest data. Now, you need to be sure that you're picking the data when you're finding the range. You're picking the data, which is the mark, and not the frequency or the count. So then we've talked about the mode, which is the data with the highest frequency. So when you want to identify your mode, you have to ensure that you pick the data and not the frequency. And so with that, we've come to the end of the mathematics lesson for today. It was easy for me, and I believe it was easy for you too. I will now hand you over to Uncle Popo for the general studies lesson. Till I come your way tomorrow, remain wonderful mathematicians.